His name is Rafael Badziag. You may have met him. He's been here all day. He's been absolutely immersed in the other speakers' material and the discussions. Rafael is a global entrepreneur, a TEDx speaker, a best-selling author, and an angel investor. Rafael is a valued expert in psychology of entrepreneurship, and he specializes in self-made billionaires. Not millionaires, billionaires. And he's been featured on NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, BBC, as well as USA Today, Wall Street Journal, Forbes, The Telegraph, and other national newspapers and TV networks in over 30 countries. His book, The $1 Billion Secret, which is in the corner over there, became a #1 international Amazon bestseller in many, many countries and regions. And I'm delighted to say that we've had 9 international and translation deals for the book, and the audiobook just went live, and all of this has happened in the first 90 days. So I think this is someone to listen to. This is someone who thinks big, and he's interviewed other people who think big, and if you have that feeling that maybe you could think a bit bigger, you probably could. So sit up, get that energy level where it needs to be, and welcome my friend, your friend, Rafael Badziag.
First, I would like to ask the outstanding speakers and personalities who gathered here. I don't think I belong in that row. I'm not really a leader of that magnitude. But I want to tell you today about a journey that I took in the last 6 years. And the title, How to Overcome Crazy Challenges and Achieve Impossible Goals. I will tell you today about my greatest defeat in my life and how I turned it into my greatest victory. And I will give you 6 practical steps, so-called 6 Ds. And I will be talking about, it is a book project, but please don't narrow it down to only book writing or to researching. It is applicable in every way of life. You can use it really for every project, for every venture that you would imagine. My journey started 6 years ago. I was a struggling entrepreneur. Long ago were the days of the initial excitement in my business. And I created an e-commerce company back in the 90s. It became quite successful, a multi-million-dollar company, you could say, in revenue. But it wasn't what I expected to be. And may I ask you, how many entrepreneurs do we have in the audience? How many people would like to become entrepreneurs? And who of you knows what I'm talking about? This, so to say, dead end in business, when you are dismotivated and you don't really feel successful, you are stressed out, it's a constant uphill battle. You see, in my case, competitors coming later, growing faster, becoming more successful, and you realize that there is something missing. I mean, I realized there was something missing in me as an entrepreneur. I don't have business education. I'm a mathematician myself. And I needed to do something about this in order to compete with the people I had to compete with in my industry. So I started reading all these business books, going to personal development seminars, to business conferences. And soon I found myself in that conference, jumping around with other people high-fiving each other and shouting, "You've got a millionaire mind." I don't have anything against American excitement and so on. It's okay with me, but this message somehow didn't resonate with me. And I didn't know what it was. It wasn't certainly about money. Money is not bad. I don't consider money a bad thing. Absolutely not. But it didn't speak to me, it didn't talk to me, and I didn't know what it was. After a while I realized, of course I've got a millionaire mind. I have created a multi-million-dollar company. But it's actually an average performance in business nowadays. I mean, we are in London. If you buy an average apartment in London, you have to spend over $1 million. Is that a significant business performance? Something that you would describe as a business success? Certainly not. And in order to compete with the people I had to compete with, I needed to do much better than that. And I realized I'd rather have a billionaire mind. Why billionaire? Because billionaires are actually the best entrepreneurs in the world. You can define success differently in different ways of life, but in business it's really simple. It's the net worth, meaning the value you have created in your business career. So the best entrepreneurs in the world are at the same time the richest people in the world. We call them billionaires. So I got this idea, and this is our first step, the dream. I had the dream of learning from the best entrepreneurs in the world, from billionaires. And you have to realize that the size of your accomplishments is determined by the size of your dreams. If you have small dreams, then you do small things and you get small outcomes. When you have big dreams, then you have a chance, at least a chance, of achieving something of significance, something big, right? So I had this dream to travel the world, to talk to the best entrepreneurs, to billionaires, extract their knowledge and write a book about that, to learn from them what in their personalities made them so extremely successful in business, how they think, how they act, how they approach problems. And then to write a book about it and share it with the world. And in order for you to realize how, let's say, impossible this dream was, you need to know that in the world, on average, only 1 in 5 million people is a billionaire. Only 1 in 5 million people. So to go out and meet a billionaire by chance on the streets, it's comparable with winning the main pot in the national lottery. And I needed 20 billionaires for my book. So do you know anybody who won the main pot in the national lottery 20 times? Common sense tells us this is plain impossible. But it's not everything. I put in my head, I will co-author this book with the best non-fiction author in history, Jack Canfield, who published over 200 books and sold 500 million book copies. The most successful non-fiction author in history. Then we come to the next step, the decision. One thing is to have a dream, but it doesn't mean that you consider it doable and maybe worth the risk and the time. And in this case, the dream seemed so unreal that I really didn't believe I could pull it off, I could do it. But then I started talking to other people about that dream, and soon I met a friend who accidentally considered himself the best stage salesperson in the world. So selling from the stage. And I told him about that dream, and he said, ask me if I can help you. I didn't really believe I could make it a reality. So I said, oh, come on. And he said, but ask me. And I said, okay, can you help me? He said, yes, I can. First thing, I know Richard Branson. He's my business partner, so I can arrange an interview with him. And when you have Richard Branson, everybody else will follow, or other billionaires will follow. The first thing, I say, yeah, but still, you know, Jack Canfield, the most successful writer, most successful non-fiction author in history, he says, look, you have a contact, because I had a contact with, or two, Jack Canfield at that moment, set up a call and I will convince him to join you in that project, to co-author that book with him. So, and this made me somehow, this dream more real for me. And I set up the call and he indeed convinced Jack Canfield to co-author this book with me. But then we still had this little challenge of actually approaching and convincing billionaires. After a while, it turned out he was bluffing about Richard Branson, but I didn't really get angry at him because I realized this was the guy who made me believe in my vision, in my own dream. And then I started also researching the topic, and I realized there were no books written about billionaires with first-hand knowledge. They were, of course, biographies about single billionaires, but the problem with biography is always you don't know if this person became so successful because of the traits, the personality traits that they described in that book, or in spite of these personality traits. So you need to compare many billionaires, so to say, talk to many, and take the common denominators, and then you know what the common traits are. And I was looking for these common denominators, what is common to all the billionaires in the world. It was a global project. And I realized also that nobody has ever done anything like this before. Nobody even tried to, right? Because of that improbability, because of how improbable that is. You have to take a decision, because you can only reach the goals that you decide to pursue. I just realized that anything that has ever been accomplished in the world was achieved by somebody who just decided to do it, to pursue it and to make it happen. So I produced a promise card, and this is a strategy that I read in Jack Canfield's book, I guess, The Success Principles. You write a card, your promise on your card, you copy it, laminate it, distribute it among friends. And you do it because then the friends keep you accountable for that promise, and it puts a certain pressure on you, and it helps you to perform, because due to that pressure you wouldn't like to disappoint your friends, or like to look like a loser in the eyes of your friends. And I put on that card, I will write and publish a bestseller with Jack Canfield by June 30th, 2014. So I started this project 2013, and I gave myself 1 year to write this book, to research, to write, publish this book with Jack Canfield. And this was my decision. Now we come to the third step, to the third D. This is doing. You can have the best ideas. You can have the best knowledge. You can have the best skills, the best conditions. But as long as you don't take action, nothing will happen. And in my case, this was the key, to take the action. Because I was completely overwhelmed by the magnitude of this challenge. I didn't have any contact to any billionaire, anything. But after a while, I got the first contact to a former employee of one of the billionaires. What I needed to do is to call the guy and convince him to put me in contact with that billionaire, and so that maybe, and then convince the billionaire to give me an interview and participate in my project. I remember I was hesitating for weeks, gathering courage, weighing all pros and cons, procrastinating. I was terrified to death. I was actually paralyzed by fear, but fear is the worst enemy of success. And then I gave this card, this promise card, to this friend who gave me the phone number of this employee. And his reaction changed my life forever, because this friend looked at me and said, look, I gave you a phone number, a contact, a potential contact to a billionaire, and you are giving me some piece of paper, some damn piece of paper? Come on, pull yourself together, get serious. So I humbly took the phone and called the guy. And this is how it all changed, how I started. And luckily I got the first contact of first billionaire and convinced him to participate in the project. And I got the interview. But then we come to the first step, and this is defeats. So you have to realize that nothing of value can be easy. And on your way to your dreams, you will fail many times, you will fall many times, you will lose many times. But all that doesn't matter, because there is no success without failures. I got hundreds of rejections from billionaires, hundreds. In the period of the first year of my project, Jack Canfield withdrew from the project due to too many obligations, whatever. After a year, I got stuck with just 4 billionaires, and it was at the time when the book should be published. I mean, 30th of June 2014, 4 billionaires only, and I lost my co-author. And I realized Jack Canfield was extremely important in my project, because I could convince, of course, a billionaire to participate in that project if I write a book with the best author in the history, right? So I was terrified. This was the greatest defeat in my life. All the dreams that I set off to realize were shattered, right? I failed. But did I really? So the next step, and this is what I learned in my ultra running, is determination. So it doesn't matter how many times you fall, as long as every time you get up, dust yourself off, and continue. You will realize that perseverance and grit will turn your greatest defeats in your greatest victories. Because success is achieved by those who just fight, don't give up, and fight until they succeed, until they achieve it. So step by step, I got the next billionaire interview, the next interview. But then I stumbled upon the next defeats, the next problems. I was struggling to get a publisher. I got probably dozens of rejections in the United States. Primarily wanted to get a publisher through that, let's say, traditional way of getting an agent in the States and then approaching publishers. I got so many rejections. I am from Germany, as you can hear. The culture, I don't know the culture. I am not really, I don't know people. I don't have any contacts in the States or in UK. Then I finished to actually interview people, and I realized I'm overwhelmed by the amount of material I have. I had 2,000 pages of transcriptions, of interview transcriptions, and I needed to somehow put it into form, into a book, to digest through that and to form a book out of that. How to transform it. And so I had all these challenges, and step by step I solved all of them. First, I found a book coach who helped me put that into book form, to organize that knowledge. This is Mindy. Then I followed up with Mindy to publish this book. And it became the greatest achievement of my life. It took 6 years of my life, 21 self-made billionaires, several travels around the globe, and the involvement of 80 people to accomplish this. And the book is The $1 Billion Secret that you can see over there. But this is not the last step. The last step is the delivery. Because what's the use of a great product if nobody knows about it and nobody uses it, right? So make sure to get as much as possible out of your success, out of what you have achieved. So I employed PR agencies in US, UK. I showed up to every interview opportunity, to every article opportunity. I recorded 200 YouTube videos. You will find them on my YouTube channel, The $1 Billion Secret, by the way. It's everything about the topic of doing great, impossible things in life and business. I wrote countless articles, countless posts. I organized a book launch with press conference where, by the way, it was hosted here by Cass Business School of the City University of London and the Museum of Entrepreneurship. Billionaires, surprisingly, even billionaires that I interviewed, some of them came to the book launch. And the result is what Mindy said before. On the first day, we hit the bestseller list in almost every country, in almost every market that it was visible, the book was visible on. In the next days, we got #1 in the UK, US, Canada, Brazil, Germany, and several other countries. Since then, over 300 TV, radio, press publications appeared in over 40 countries. So all that was just worth it. And the book became, from what Mindy told me, the greatest book launch in the history of the publisher of Panama Press. And by all that, I'm not telling you that in order to brag or something. I just want to tell you that look at me, I don't even speak fluently English. This is not my culture. I'm an outsider, I'm a foreigner. And if I can do this, ask yourself, what could you achieve? The takeaways, what I would like for you to remember from that. Don't shy away from impossible goals, because often they only seem impossible, and you can actually do something to bend the probability in your favor and to make them possible for you. And often they turn easier than expected to realize. The second thing, and by the way, I gave a TED talk on that. Impossible is easier than you think, that you get a little bit more of the methods that I gave you here. The other thing, turn defeats into victories with grit. So grit, perseverance is the key. People who give up after first problem, they encounter the first problem after problems start to appear, they just don't reach the goal, right? You have to persevere through the problems, and you just assume problems and obstacles and challenges will appear, and you have to endure through them. And this way, my greatest defeat became my greatest victory. And the last one is make sure it's worth the effort. So just get as much as possible out of it, and don't waste its potential. Don't play small. I would like to encourage you to play a bigger game. Thank you.